Okay, right. These are the different types of the movements and the examples. Very most important movement, different types of the movements in the human body and examples are the most important, right? Okay, next one, human muscular system. So human muscular system. So muscular system consists with muscles, and it is called muscular skeletal system. Why it is called muscular skeletal system? Because the muscles which are attached with the bone, so that only the structure of the person, the posture of the persons could be made, could be maintained, and different types of the movements or exhibits, right? So human muscular system includes muscles which are mesodermal in origin. Muscles are origin from mesoderm, right? Muscles constitute 40 to 50% of the body weight. So muscles constitute 40 to 50% of body weight. So whatever the body weight, our body weight, suppose for example 50 kilos or 60 kilos, so there is muscle weight is the more 40 to 50%, remaining bone weight also, and remaining internal organs and all. Muscles have excitability, contractility, extensibility, and elasticity. These four characters are the most important and unique features of the muscles. Muscles have excitability, excitation. Whenever muscles receive stimulus, then muscles are going to be contracted and relaxations are exhibits. That is called excitability, excitation, and contractility, exhibition of contraction, and extensibility means expansion, like there is elasticity, extensibility, and elasticity also exhibits. These four are the unique features of the muscles: excitability, contractility, extensibility, and elasticity, right? So based on location, muscles are three different types. So muscles are divided into three different types based on presence of the location in the human body. So majorly the muscles are three different types. What are they? Skeletal muscles and visceral muscles are also called smooth muscles and cardiac muscles. Skeletal muscles, visceral muscles are also called smooth muscles and cardiac muscles, right? So skeletal muscles, and these are striated muscles. So by the appearance, muscles are divided into two different types: striated and non-striated or unstriated muscles. If stripes are presented, striated muscles, and striates are randomly not presented, those are called non-striated muscles. So skeletal muscles are striated muscles, and smooth muscles are striated, unstriated muscles. Cardiac muscles are striated muscles, right? In the three muscles which are unstriated muscles, visceral muscles are unstriated muscles, right? And skeletal muscles attached to the skeleton. The muscles which are attached to the skeleton, those are called skeletal muscles. And the muscles which are attached to the visceral organs, those are called visceral muscles, are also called smooth muscles. And the muscles which are present in the heart wall, those are called cardiac muscles, right? And in the skeletal muscles, striations are presented, striate lines are presented. So actin and myosin randomly arranged, serially, repeatedly arranged, so that only striations are appear. And in the smooth muscles, striations are absent, and in the cardiac muscles, striations are present. And skeletal muscles are voluntary. So based on the muscles response, there is two different types of muscles. Majorly there is voluntary and involuntary. So under the control of humans directly, that is called voluntary muscles. Under the control by us, those are voluntary, and we are not controlled directly. That type of the muscles are called involuntary muscles. So voluntary muscles, so the muscles which are presented in hand, limbs, like hands and legs, lower limbs, upper limbs, and those are called voluntary muscles. We can move our hand and legs freely, but visceral muscles are involuntary muscles. So we cannot we can move the hand, but we cannot move our intestine, and we cannot move our liver. We are not under the control. We are not directly control that type of the muscles. Those are involuntary muscles. And cardiac muscles are also involuntary muscles, the muscles which are present in the heart wall. And skeletal muscles, rich blood supply, and skeletal muscles supplied with rich blood, and visceral muscles, poor blood supply, and cardiac muscles also, which is rich blood supply. Skeletal muscles are fatigue muscles, fatigue, so immediately, so easily tied. The skeletal muscles are, fatigue means tiredness, easily tied. And visceral muscles are non-fatigue muscles, and cardiac muscles are Cardiac muscles are non-fatigue muscles. It can take rest, cardiac muscles. If cardiac muscle take rest means it is rest in peace, RIP, right? Skeletal muscles are multinucleate. So the structure of the muscle is multinucleate. It is called syncytium, right? And visceral muscles are uninucleate and cardiac muscles are uninucleate. Below following, which of the muscles are multinucleate? Those are skeletal muscles, right? So skeletal muscles consist with more mitochondria, right? And visceral muscles are less mitochondria, and cardiac muscles are consist with more mitochondria. Up to this clear? These are the differences between three muscles, right? And go through this. And next one, structure of striated muscles. Structure of striated muscle or skeletal muscles. The skeletal muscle is made up of muscle bundles, are also called fascicles, held together by collagenous connective tissue layer, that is called fascia. So the skeletal muscles made up of with muscle bundles, those are called, so this is what completely, this is skeletal muscle, and skeletal muscle made up of with bundles of muscle bundles, that is called fascicles. And the connective tissue layer which is presented between one muscle bundle and another muscle bundle, that is called fascia. And each fascicle contains many muscle fibers or muscle cells. In one muscle bundle or fascicle, what is presented? Muscle fibers are presented. Bundles of muscle fibers are presented. These are called muscle cells. So this is muscle cells. So diagram labeling also most important in human physiology, right? So muscle fibers and muscle cells are presented in one muscle bundle or fascicle. Muscle fibers are lined by plasma membrane, sarcolemma, enclosing the sarcoplasm. So each muscle fiber are lined by plasma membrane, that is called sarcolemma. The plasma membrane presented surrounds the muscle fiber is called sarcolemma, enclosing sarcoplasm. Inside sarcoplasm is presented. Sarcoplasm is nothing but cytoplasm presented in the muscle fibers. Each muscle fiber contains myofilaments, are also called myofibrils. So in one muscle fiber or muscle cell, what is presented? Myofilaments or myofibrils. It is called myofibrils. And each myofibril has alternated dark anisotropic or A band and light striations isotropic and or I band is presented. In each myofibril, what is presented? So there is two different types of the bands are presented. So there is two different types of the protein distribution is presented. Those are anisotropic or A band. So there is two different types of the bands, that is dark or anisotropic or A band. Light striations are also called isotropic or I band, right? This is due to presence of two fibrous contractile proteins, thin actin filament and thick myosin filament. Dark or A band, light or I band. Dark or A band consists with myosin, light or I band consists with actin protein, right? These two are called, actin and myosin proteins are called, both are called contractile proteins, because based on these two proteins only muscle contraction is going to be exhibits. I bands contain actin, A bands contain actin and myosin. So here given already, I bands contain actin. In the I band, what is presented? Actin is presented. In the A band, both actin and myosin, because so that only it is dark, and I band is light band, and also called isotropic and anisotropic band, and they are arranged parallel to each other. One I band, one A band, one I band, one A band, one I band, one A band, parallelly arranged, so that only the striated appearance takes place in the striated muscles, right? And A band bears a lighter middle region, H band, H zone formed only myosin, right? So in the middle of A band, there is H zone is presented. In the middle of A band, H zone is presented, formed only by myosin. H zone means what? Non-overlapping area. In the middle of A band, the lighter region, suppose one A band is presented. In that one A band, that A band means a dark band. In the middle of A band, there is H zone or H space is presented, that is non-overlapping by the actin, okay, right. A thin dark line is presented. A thin dark line is presented between the A band, that is called M line, runs through the center of H.